right, so I'm a junior at Carmel High School and I do football and track. And I mainly do sprint events, so just all the shorter events, 4x1, 100, 200. And I've been doing it since eighth grade and I just love it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I've been going to the chiropractor. It's been good, keeping me healthy, doing my recovery. So yeah, that's been good.
All right, appreciate the shout out.
Yeah.
Look, I was gonna say,
Yep.
who's your chiropractor?
Yeah.
Right. Shout
Yeah,
him
getting me
out.
right.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's this guy
Oh.
right here.
Yep.
Isaac, how did you get interested in track? You say you've been in it since eighth
Yeah,
grade?
so I joined in middle school. It was eighth grade,
Mm-hmm.
and I always played soccer, and I
Mm-hmm.
was on the faster side. So I was like, you know what, I want to give track and field a shot, and I just fell in love with the sport and had a great coach. And I was kind of late to it. Usually, people will join like sixth grade or early on in middle school, so he kind of helped me get adjusted to the sport. And yeah, I just had a lot of fun with it. And I've always been doing 100 and 200 and 4x1 since the start.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. You ever run the four?
I was gonna say,
I've done the four one time, and I did not like the four. It's not my thing.
Nobody really likes it, but
Yeah,
you know.
I mean, I can do it, but I kind of focus on the 100 and 200. So those are my two events.
I
you're
got
gonna college coaches are gonna listen and put that part and say, well, remember you said you have ran it. So when they watch
Yeah,
you 4x4 in college.
you.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not too bad once you're really in shape. But if you run the 400 and you're not ready for it, then man, your legs are gonna just be so sore afterwards. It's a hard race.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So who would you say, even starting in eighth grade, has there been anyone that's kind of stood out to you as inspiration for the sport?
I mean, I always loved watching the Olympics growing up, and I know saying Usain Bolt's kind of like, whatever, because he's the best, but he kind of inspired me based off his work ethic. And not only did he have the natural ability, but he also really put in the work and really paid attention to detail. Watching
Mhm.
his recovery and the way he goes about his workouts. I mean, that's why he separates himself to be the best. So yeah, he's definitely been an inspiration for me.
So what's been your thus far? You still got a couple years to go. What's been your favorite memory when it comes to track and field?
I would say my freshman year, I did the 100 meter. It was my first event for high school, and everyone was so much faster than middle school. So I was all nervous and I had adrenaline pumping, and I ended up getting an 11.12 for my first 100. So I felt good about that. And it just, it was a shock. I was like, man, this sport is just so much different in high school. And it kind of made me really excited to compete against other guys because I'd never really seen guys run, sub 11. I'd never seen that before. So seeing it the first time was just like, wow, there's a whole nother level to this sport. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a lot of fun and a shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were exposed to it early, right? You're like, oh, I thought I was the fastest.
Yeah, so it was a shock, but it was good. It was good.
So how would you say you prepare? You've been on some very grand stages or big stages. So how do you prepare mentally for big competition?
Yeah, so mentally it can be tough because a lot of the pressure is on, especially in those playoff meets where if you drop the baton or you have a bad handoff, it's over. So you have to be really locked in. And the way I do that is I kind of don't think about the other people in the race. I just kind of try to get a PR, and I feel
Mhm.
like that's helped a lot. So if I'm just thinking about myself and getting my best time, then I won't be as nervous. And usually I end up running better if I think that way as well. So yeah, that's definitely been helpful and a game changer for me.
Now, what happens when let's say you don't hit a PR, you don't have a best race? How do you
Mhm.
handle like that setback, that challenge?
I mean, it can be frustrating, but definitely just learn from it. And usually a coach will record my race. So I kind of figure out what technique issue I had and what I need to do better. So then I'll focus on that throughout the week of practice. And then hopefully I'll get a PR the next meet. But yeah, it definitely can be frustrating if I don't get a PR because I
Well,
always want to get one.
well, to follow that, let's say we're in the same meet. Prelims of the 100 goes terrible. Then you
Yeah.
have to turn around and run the 4x1.
Hmm.
How do you transition from there? Like a terrible start in 100, now you got to go
Yeah.
and run 4x1.
So there, I kind of just try to forget about it because if I think too much about it, then I'm not going to do good. And then at the end of the entire meet, I'll look over it all and just really dig deep into what I could do better. But I realize that if, I'm looking over the video too much right before I got to run again, then I'm just going to be in my head too much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too nervous and then mess up. So yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. What would you say are some values that are most important as a track and field athlete?
Good. I would say persistence is the
Mhm.
most important because, like we were talking about, if you don't get a PR, you can't just use that to be like, oh man, I'm not going to be fast this season or I'm not going to be as good as I wanted to. Is you just got to be persistent and you got to look at that video and figure out, what can I do to be faster? What can I do to improve? And then you just got to lock in and focus on those things. So yeah, I think there's a lot of really important traits to be a good athlete, but persistence is, I think, the most important.
Now, you're a two-sport athlete,
Yes.
and there are things that you play. What position in football?
Safety.
Safety.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a few things that are humbling in both sports. Safety, one, if you're out here and you get toasted and they score a touchdown on you, it's a humbling experience.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen every game though. Otherwise, you're not playing. But
Yeah.
in track and field, on any given day, it could be anybody's day, and you could get smoked. Um, how have you dealt with that in terms of how's that shaped your character when it comes to like dealing with adversity, dealing with those ups and downs?
Well, they're both very different sports. And I would say football's a little more subjective. Like, you can kind of blame it on the whole team if you want to. I mean, you shouldn't do that, but you can make a lot of excuses. Whereas track, it's completely objective. Like, you're not better than someone if you don't have a better time. So I would say I like that they're very different because I've had a lot of different learning experiences from both. And I would say adversity and track, it's kind of all on you and you just can't really make an excuse. Like if you didn't get the time, you didn't get the time. Whereas football, like I was saying, it's just more subjective. So that's something I do like about track, but I like being able to do both sports. So that's been very good.
I love that. So, because you're a two-sport athlete, how do you balance your academics with your athletic commitments?
Yeah, so that's really important. And it's just about time management. And if I'm doing homework, I need to be locked in and not be on my phone because a lot of times, like if I have my phone with me, I'll do a couple problems and then check my phone. And then that's not good. So if I put my phone to the side, I can get it all done. And then we have an SRT, which is kind of like a study hall. So just meeting with teachers, making up missed assignments if I have any, it's a great time to do that. So I try to keep my grades at least A's and B's, which is hard, but it's definitely doable with good time management.
Okay. Now you've
Great
been,
discipline.
yeah,
Yeah,
very
stop being on
disciplined.
my phone.
Yeah, put that
Uh,
thing on focus. Just
yep,
Mhm.
yep.
yeah,
Just
do
try to
not
do it fun.
disturb and go away for a
Yeah,
while.
exactly. Just put it to the side.
Yeah. Now you with two sports, I'm sure you keep your parents busy. What role do you say they played in this journey, your athletic career thus far?
Yeah, I definitely would not be here without them because, especially when I was younger, they drove me around so much. I would have track meets during the week. I would have football workouts on the weekends. We would do travel for 7-on-7, and they would just always be supportive of it. So it was a lot, and I just really appreciate all that they did, and just constantly supporting me because my dad, he didn't even really do sports, so it was kind of a new thing, and he kind of wanted me to do band a little bit because that's what he was into. But I really wanted to do track and football, and he was fully supportive, and so was my mom. So that was really great.
Well,
Yeah.
we like to shout out the parentals, so we want you to name drop your mom and dad because, like you said, you couldn't do it without them. So we try to always, we want to share that.
Brad Nelson and Chrissy Nelson. Yeah, those are
Thank you to the
Brad's my dad, and then
parents.
Chrissy's my mom. So yeah,
Thank
they're great parents. Definitely a blessing.
So he wanted you to play in the band. I see a guitar over there. You play guitar?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he wanted me to do percussion though. He was a big drummer. That's what
Oh,
he
nice.
really loved percussion. He played in the band at LC.
Okay.
Nice.
Really what he loved to do. So yeah.
Well,
I,
at least he
I liked
wasn't too,
athletics too much.
yeah, well, at least he didn't want you to play tuba.
Right.
Oh man, that would be tough. Carrying that thing around. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. Huh. I know we were talking about competition and like track is different. And like
Hmm.
I was saying, any given day, things can happen. So how do you define a successful day when it comes to track and field?
Yeah, I mean, I would say a successful day is a PR, and if it's not a PR, then you know, I would say it's not an entire failure, but as long as you're really close to getting a PR, I think that should always be the goal going into every meet. Like you want to get better every single day, even if it's by, 100th of a second. Just even if it's really minimal, just getting better every track meet's the goal.
You're pretty much an all year round athlete because you're a two sport athlete. So how do you stay motivated, right? You're like, okay, I just got done with football season. Now we're rolling in to track, and clearly you reap the benefits of your speed and stuff from being out on the track. But how do you motivate yourself? Like, okay, next sport, next sport.
I'd say a big part of it is, wanting to pursue athletics in college. It's something I've always wanted to do. And I watch people on TV and it's just like, I would love to do that. And then also sometimes, I mean, you're not always going to be motivated. Some days you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to wake up and do these workouts, or I don't want to stay after school for 3 hours to do this workout. And, I've just learned that if you're pushing past not feeling motivated, that's when you start to have the most success, because you're not going to feel motivated every day. And you might feel motivated almost every day, but you just got to push through those days where you're not feeling it as much. So, yeah, that's what I've learned.
That's called
Thank you.
discipline, sir.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because people always they want to start stuff and it's because they're motivated to do it, but at the end of the day, the discipline is what keeps you there.
Yeah. You're not going to feel motivated every day.
Yeah, discipline gets you to the destination. That's what they say.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say you talked about how your coaches record you and they're sharing videos with you. So even in those videos where you're assessing and evaluating your performance, how are you handling the feedback that your coaches are giving you when you both are watching the video?
Yeah. So usually they'll give me like something to do after they show me the video so that I'm not just kind of figuring it out on my own. So that's great. And then I'll just work on that throughout the week of practice. And if it doesn't get better, then we'll try something else. It's like, for example, my starts weren't as good as I wanted them to be right out the blocks. So Coach Hamlet, he would do this thing to my hip that would kind of help me like have my mind muscle connection with my hips and then explode right out the blocks. So that really helps. So yeah, it's great that they're able to be specific and let me know what I can do better.
Now, if you could change one thing about track and field, what would it be and why?
Like the rules or something.
Whatever it is, anything.
Um, I think it would be cool if they kind of made more of a team emphasis. Like maybe they had the points up on like a screen for a meet so that there would be people coming back or people taking the lead. So I feel like you don't really look at that until the end of the meet. So I think it would be kind of cool, like after every event, they put it on the board, like where people are at in the whole meet. I think that'd be kind of fun.
I like that. So you all can see because best believe the coaches is looking on their phones.
Yeah, the coaches,
We looking.
they always have. Yeah.
But no, I think that makes it more exciting and
For the
engaging.
people
The
there
crowd.
too. Yeah, the crowd would
Absolutely.
probably love that. So I think that'd be a cool addition.
Yeah. And the athletes, right? You're like, okay, all
Yeah,
right, I see this on the screen. Okay, I gotta really lock
see
in,
where you're at. Yeah,
get after it.
that'd be
I
fun.
love
I
Yeah.
like that idea.
Yeah, maybe at least in state, do something like that.
Yeah.
Or the top times meet, do something like
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes.
Oh man.
What would you say has been the most valuable piece of advice? Someone, it could be a coach or your parents because of how heavily supportive they are.
Mhm.
What's the best piece of advice they've given you thus far?
I think
Or coach?
my parents have definitely been supportive, and the best piece of advice would be just to not give up. Because there's been a lot of times where I've gotten hamstring strains, and it can be kind of demotivating. Like, man, if I keep getting this injury, then I should probably stop doing track. But they really pushed me to keep going, and now I'm doing all the chiropractor stuff, so that's gonna help too. Yeah, I'd say sometimes when I feel like giving up, them just saying, work to be the best you can be, and don't give up. I think that's the best piece of advice.
Yeah, that's cool. And that's right, because you never know when you're just that close.
Yep.
It's just that one play. In football, it's that one little extra effort to the whistle, to the whistle, to the whistle. And then there's a fumble that bounces in your arms and you run for a touchdown,
Mhm.
because you're hustling. When it comes to like you play two sports, what would you say the most unexpected life lesson is you probably got from being an athlete?
I would say believing in yourself is really important and having confidence, like whether it's football or track. I think if you're not confident in what you're doing, you're so much more, likely to make a mistake because you're in your own head. So I think, confidence also comes with preparation. So I've learned that, if you work a lot harder, you're going to be more confident, which is going to help you win. So yeah, I just think putting in the work and being able to be confident on game days and track. So yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Mm. So you talked about like at the meetings having the team score up there. For you, how do you balance the team's goals with your individual goals?
I would say working towards team goals is more of how you go about practice and how much you're encouraging people. If you have a good vibe and you're working hard, it kind of has an effect where other people will start to do the same. So I think just working hard is the best way you can have an impact on the team. And then for individual goals, it's just focusing on what you need to get better at and paying attention to that during practice. One person might be thinking, what are they going to do with their arms out of the blocks? Or you might be thinking, how am I going to use my hips out the blocks? So just paying attention on what you need to work on the most is something I've learned is really important to do. Yeah. And then also during the meets, like when other people are running, just, cheering them on, even if it's distance and it's not even a sprinter, even if you don't know them, just being there to cheer them on. Yeah, I think that's really important.
And being cheering them on and be part of what you would say probably make you a great teammate. But
Yeah.
what would you say makes you a great competitor?
I hate losing. I absolutely hate losing. So that's one of my biggest motivators. Even if it's against other really fast people in the same heat, like I don't like saying, "Oh, I was in a fast heat." I don't like to lose. I would say that's where I kind of get an edge. Yeah. And then track is so objective. So you can't say anything. You can't say any excuses. You just got beat.
Right. I love that. I love that you're not just saying, oh, I was in a fast heat or oh, that person
Yeah.
was number one. It's like on any given day.
Just got
Yeah. So it's a
Yeah.
yeah.
very competitive mindset to have.
Hmm.
Um,
In track, typically everybody works hard. It's just one of those, that's a given, right? It's a hard sport.
hmm
But sometimes there's an athlete that has the X factor, that unknown. What would you say is yours?
Like my X factor,
Yeah.
like genetically,
No, just like,
work out.
like some people are like, yeah, it's just the vibe they have when they come around. And some people it's
mhm.
like, it's whatever it makes everybody, like you said, you work hard, so you motivate some of the other people around you to work harder. Like,
Yeah.
what is it about you that makes you different?
I would say just my work ethic and, paying attention to certain things that might kind of get, looked over a lot. For example, like the hip thing Coach Hamlin was working with me for, just, you know, any little thing you can do can have a effect on your time because it's by tenths of seconds. So I think that's kind of where I have some separation is just paying attention to the little things. And over time, that accumulates to faster and faster times I've noticed. So that's definitely something that I've been good at doing. And the coaches definitely helped me to realize what I can do as well.
If we ask your coaches or your teammates to describe you in one word, what would it be?
I would say motivating.
Mhm.
I would say it's at least athletic wise, like people who know my story. I was not, very athletic. My parents been band people and nothing wrong with that, but I just did not come from an athletic background. So it took a
Mhm.
lot of work to especially get up to higher levels. And I think that can motivate people.
That's super cool.
Mhm.
Like, cause usually there's not many athletes coming out of a non-athletic home
Yeah.
because that's not what they think about. That's not first on their list. It's not, oh, start him in soccer when he's young. They don't think about anything like that. It's just,
I, yeah.
yeah, we'll give you a trumpet, let you
Yeah.
go.
Yep. I did trumpet in middle school.
Did you?
Oh, I love
Yeah,
it.
but I didn't do football until high school, and then I didn't do track until eighth grade, so I was a little late to it.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, but I got a nephew that didn't play football until he was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah, that's really late. Yeah, sophomore
Well,
year.
he ended up with the Cowboys though.
yeah.
That's crazy.
It's like when you got it, you got it.
Right. So there's something there, you know?
Yeah.
Mhm.
What are you looking forward to this year, Isaac? We just closed out indoor. And so what are you looking forward to for your outdoor season?
I want to place for 100 meter in state because
Okay.
I was gonna go to state freshman year and sophomore year, but I missed both times because of my hamstring. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
finally like, all right, this is my year. So that's my biggest goal. I want to get some points for Carmel on the 100 meter. So yeah,
Great.
Nice.
that's my biggest goal.
I'm trying to help you get there. I'm
Yeah.
trying to help you get there. Making sure we stay on track with that one.
Yep.
You know, well, Isaac, if people want to follow along with you, see how things are going with you this season, where should they follow you at, and what's your handle and all that?
Wait, what? What did you say? Sorry.
Like if people wanted to follow you on social media, trying to keep track of you this season, watch your progress.
Yeah. Twitter. I'm on Twitter, so you can see my times. I'll usually post if I get a PR, I'll post on Twitter, and then also Instagram stories. I'll do that as well. So
Okay.
yeah, that's usually where I can keep track, so coaches can see it, so friends can see it, and all that.
What's your handle on both of those?
On Twitter, it's Isaac Nelson _26. Instagram's Isaac Nelson _11.
Why the different numbers?
26 is my graduating class, so 2026, and then 11 is my football number. Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Just curious.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, Isaac, it was great having you on here. We appreciate you
thanks for
coming
having
on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I watched some of your guys' episodes, and it's cool you guys are doing for tracking Indiana, putting it on the map.
For sure.
Appreciate you guys doing that.
Thank you for joining us, and we are looking forward to seeing you on that podium.
Yep.
Yes.
For state for sure. For sure. We'll be watching. And Coach Ware getting you right.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Well, have a good one.
Yeah. You too.